on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. And take the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. And for me, that utterance may be given unto me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in bonds, that therein I may speak boldly as I ought to speak.
The whole armor of Yahuah according to the Old Testament. In the New Testament, the Apostle Paul, exhorts believers to put on the whole armor of Yahuah in order to stand firm against the spiritual forces of evil. This powerful imagery is often associated with the Roman soldier's gear, but its deeper roots lie in the Hebrew Scriptures, where the concept of divine protection and spiritual armor is woven throughout the text. The armor described in Ephesians 6 is not just a metaphor for strength and resilience. It draws from the rich traditions of the Old Testament, where Yahuah himself is portrayed as a warrior, and his people are called to be clothed in his righteousness, truth, and salvation. The imagery of armor in the Old Testament is not about physical battle, but about spiritual readiness and protection. From the garments of the high priest to the divine attributes that Yahuah wears as a warrior, the Old Testament presents a profound understanding of what it means to be spiritually armored. The whole armor of Yahuah is a call to embrace these divine qualities, righteousness, truth, faith, and salvation, so that we can stand firm against the forces of darkness that seek to undermine our relationship with Yahuah. This exploration of the armor of Yahuah through the lens of the Old Testament reveals not only the spiritual significance of each piece, but also the foundational truths that have been established for his people from the beginning. By understanding these ancient symbols, we can more fully grasp the meaning of Shaul's exhortation and be better equipped to walk in the strength and protection that Yahuah provides. Ephesians 6:10-20. Finally, my brethren, be strong in Yahuah and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Yahuah, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the adversary. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore, take up the whole armor of Yahuah, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having girded your waist with truth, having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and having shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith with which you will be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked one, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Yahuah, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, being watchful to this end with all perseverance and supplication for all the set-apart ones, and for me, that utterance may be given to me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains, that in it I may speak boldly, as I ought to speak. Misunderstandings in context. Many interpret the armor of Elohim through the lens of Greek and Roman culture, comparing it to the military gear of Roman soldiers. However, Paul's reference draws not from Roman armor, but from Hebraic and Scriptural roots, depicting the priestly garments and the heavenly armor described in the Torah and the prophets. This distinction is crucial, as it highlights the covenant relationship between Elohim and his people, emphasizing righteousness, holiness, and spiritual preparedness rather than physical warfare. Scriptural foundations for the armor. Isaiah 59, 16-17. And he saw that there was no man, and was astonished that there was no intercessor. So his own arm saved for him, and his righteousness upheld him. And he put on righteousness as a breastplate, and a helmet of deliverance on his head. And he put on garments of vengeance for clothing, and wrapped himself with ardor as a mantle. This passage reveals Elohim himself as a warrior of righteousness, clothed in divine attributes that serve as a model for his people. Isaiah 11, 4-5. But with righteousness he shall judge the poor, and shall decide with straightness for the meek ones of the earth, and shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and slay the wrong with the breath of his lips. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and trustworthiness the girdle of his waist. Here, righteousness and trustworthiness are depicted as foundational to Elohim's character, setting the standard for his people. These passages from Yeshayahu, Isaiah, offer a glimpse into the nature of Yahuah's armor, which is not physical but spiritual. Yahuah himself is a model of righteousness and salvation, and he calls his people to take on these divine attributes as armor. By embracing these qualities, believers are equipped to stand firm in the face of spiritual opposition. This armor is not about defeating physical enemies, but about protecting the heart, mind, and soul from corruption and evil. The priesthood's garments. Shaul's imagery aligns with the holy garments of the priesthood described in Exodus 28. The priests were set apart to minister before Elohim, bearing righteousness, truth, and holiness. Their attire symbolized their role as mediators between Elohim and his people, reflecting his glory and purpose. The belt of truth. The belt or sash symbolizes holding all things together in truth, the foundation of spiritual strength. Leviticus 8, 6-7. And Moses brought Aaron and his sons, and washed them with water, and put the long shirt on him, and girded him with the girdle, and dressed him in the robe, and put the shoulder garment on him, and girded him with the embroidered band of the shoulder garment, and with it tied the shoulder garment on him. John 17:17. Set them apart in your truth. Your word is truth. Truth is the adhesive that binds the believer's life to Elohim's will, ensuring stability and integrity in all spiritual endeavors. The priestly garments in Exodus serve as a tangible representation of the spiritual qualities that believers are called to embody. Just as the priests were set apart to serve Yahuah, we too are called to be set apart, reflecting his holiness and righteousness. The armor described in Ephesians, therefore, is not about physical strength, but about embodying these spiritual virtues. It is a call to live in a way that honors Yahuah and serves as a light to others. The breastplate of righteousness. The breastplate represents righteousness and just judgment, essential for guarding the heart against corruption. Exodus 28, 15-29. And you shall make a breastplate of right ruling, a work of a skilled workman. Like the work of the shoulder garment you shall make it. Of gold, of blue and purple and scarlet material, and fine woven linen you shall make it. And Aaron shall bear the names of the sons of Israel on the breastplate of right ruling over his heart. When he goes into the set-apart place, for a remembrance before Yah continually. Deuteronomy 6:25. And it is righteousness for us when we guard to do all this command before our Elohim, as he has commanded us. The breastplate of righteousness is a powerful symbol of spiritual protection. It guards a heart, which is a seat of emotions, thoughts, and desires. Just as the high priest bore the names of the tribes on his heart, we too are called to bear righteousness, protecting our hearts from the corrupting influences of sin. Righteousness is not passive. It requires active obedience to Yahuah's commandments. It is through this active obedience that we are able to stand firm against the enemy's attacks. Feet shod with the good news of peace. Priests minister barefoot on holy ground, symbolizing humility and readiness to proclaim peace. Exodus 3:5. And he said, "Do not come near here. Take your sandals off your feet, for the place on which you are standing is set apart ground." Isaiah 52:7. How pleasant upon the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news, who proclaims peace, who brings good news, who proclaims deliverance, who says to Zion, "Your Elohim reigns." The feet shod with the gospel of peace represent both humility and readiness. Just as the priest removed his sandals to stand on holy ground, we are called to walk humbly, recognizing that the ground we stand on is sacred. The gospel of peace is not just a message to be proclaimed. It is a way of life. We are called to be peacemakers, bringing the good news of Yahuah's kingdom wherever we go. Our feet are the instruments through which this message is spread. The shield of belief. Faith is our shield against spiritual attacks, as Elohim protects his people. Genesis 15:1. After these events, the word of came to Aram in a vision, saying, "Do not be afraid, Aram. I am your shield. Your reward is exceedingly great." Exodus 14:19-20. And the messenger of Elohim, who went before the camp of Israel, moved and went behind them. And the column of cloud went from before them, and stood behind them, and came between the camp of the Mitzrites and the camp of Israel. And it was the cloud and the darkness, and it gave light by night. And the one did not come near the other all night. The shield of belief represents our trust in Yahuah's protection. It is not just about protecting ourselves, but about knowing that Yahuah is our ultimate refuge. Just as he protected the Israelites from their enemies, he will protect us from spiritual attacks. Faith is not passive. It is an active trust in Yahuah's power to shield us from harm. The helmet of deliverance. The high priest wore a turban engraved with set-apartness to Yahuah, symbolizing salvation and separation unto him. Exodus 28:36-38. And you shall make a plate of clean gold and engrave on it, like the engraving of a signet, set apartness to Yahuah. And you shall put it on a blue cord, and it shall be on the turban. It is to be on the front of the turban, and it shall be on the forehead of Aaron. And Aaron shall bear the guilt of the set-apart gifts which the children of Israel set apart in all their set-apart gifts. And it shall always be on his forehead for acceptance for them before Yahuah. Revelation 22:4. And they shall see his face, and his name shall be upon their foreheads. The helmet of salvation is a symbol of divine protection and hope. Just as the high priest wore a turban to remind him of his holiness before Yahuah, we are called to wear the helmet of salvation, which protects our minds and hearts. Salvation is not just a future hope. It is a present reality that shields us from spiritual harm. This helmet keeps our focus on Yahuah's truth, reminding us of the ultimate salvation that awaits us. The sword of the Spirit. The word of Elohim is sharper than any sword, dividing truth from error. Isaiah 49:2. And he made my mouth like a sharp sword. In the shadow of his hand he hid me, and made me a polished shaft. In his quiver he hid me. Hebrews 4:12. For the word of Elohim is living and working, and sharper than any two-edged sword, cutting through even to the dividing of being and spirit, and of joints and marrow, and able to judge the thoughts and intentions of the heart. The sword of the Spirit is the word of Yah, which is our primary weapon in spiritual warfare. It is through the word that we are able to stand firm against the enemy, using it to both defend ourselves and advance the kingdom of Yahuah. The word is not just a book. It is a living, powerful tool that empowers believers to overcome spiritual opposition. Praying always. The priesthood was called to intercede for the people. Prayer is the foundation of spiritual warfare. Psalms 82, 3-4. Give right ruling to the poor and fatherless. Do right to the afflicted and needy. Rescue the poor and needy. Deliver them from the hand of the wrong. Numbers 6, 24-26. Yahuah bless you and guard you. Yah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. Yahuah lift up his face upon you and give you peace. Prayer is a vital aspect of the spiritual armor, and its significance cannot be overstated. Just as the priesthood in ancient Israel was called to intercede on behalf of the people, so too are believers called to engage in constant prayer, standing in the gap for others and seeking Yahuah's guidance and protection. Prayer is not merely a ritual. It is the foundation of spiritual warfare, enabling believers to stay connected to Yahuah's will and to combat the forces of darkness with the power of his presence. Conclusion: the armor of Elohim is not a symbol of violence or conquest, but of righteousness, truth, and peace. It reflects the calling of his priesthood to stand blameless before him, intercede for others, and proclaim his word boldly. This Hebraic understanding calls us back to the Torah and prophets, reminding us of our identity as a set-apart nation and royal priesthood before Elohim. Each element of the armor invites believers into a deeper relationship with Elohim, equipping them to walk in his ways and stand firm against spiritual opposition. Thank you for joining us as we explored the depths of the whole armor of Yahuah. If you've been encouraged, challenged, or inspired by this teaching, we invite you to support this ministry in a few simple yet impactful ways. Share this message with others who seek truth, and help us spread the knowledge of Yahuah's word far and wide. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more teachings rooted in Scripture and the Hebraic perspective. Your engagement allows us to reach more people and continue bringing you content that equips and strengthens the body of believers. Until next time, may Yahuah bless you and guard you. May his face shine upon you and show favor to you, and may he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom.
We walk through dusty roads of time, with dreams as wings we learn to fly. The sun will rise, no shadows long. Our hearts will beat to their own song. With every step the journey grows, the wind will whisper what it knows. A fire inside that never dies. We chase the stars within our eyes. Knock on the door, the world will hear. Open the gates, cast out your fear. Seek the light beyond the gloom. Ask for the sky, make your dreams bloom. In silence we darkest dark. Every question finds its voice. Every answer leads to choice. Knock on the door, the world will hear. Open the gates, cast out your fear. Seek the light beyond the gloom. Ask for the sky, make your dreams bloom. Yahuah, you are the door. You are the way, the truth, and life. Yahuah, you are the door, you are the way, the truth, and Yahuah, you are the door, you are